Well, good morning, WellHouse Church. Pastor Cullen here. Excited to be back storytelling with you through the book of Acts for another week. I am currently enjoying the beautiful city of Austin on a gorgeous Texas morning, Sunday morning. Headed to go get some coffee. And I'm thinking about this concept of justice. You know, we've been thinking about and talking about faith and justice for the last several weeks. And as I think about the place that Paul finds himself, waiting on someone to help fix all of the problems that he finds himself in, simply by being able to say, hey, nope, we're not going to kill you. His life literally exists in his hands at this moment because of the sole purpose that his church wants to kill him. We cannot miss that the people of faith that Paul chooses to identify with are seeking to end his life. That cannot be missed or overlooked. That is injustice. That requires lots of faith. That requires lots of things that I think we are quick to forget. And in this story, I was fascinated because Paul goes on trial before this king. His name's King Agrippa. And really what it is the new governor Festus doesn't know Paul has invoked his right to be sent before the emperor, and Festus, the governor, doesn't know what to write to him. And so his boy King Agrippa comes along, and he says, hey, yo, let me let this trial happen before you so I can get some wise counsel on what I'm supposed to do. So they go. They do this, and Paul begins a beautiful monologue in which he's telling his life story, connecting himself to Judaism, talking about his faithfulness, all of the things. And then Paul begins to speak directly to King Agrippa. And when he's speaking to King Agrippa, he says, he is responding to him in a way that he says that he is familiar with the Jewish traditions, and that somehow makes him, that somehow makes him a Christian, or close to a Christian, or empathetic at the least. And King Agrippa responds, and he says, I think something that we all need to be, I think he asks a question that is very valuable and very important question for contemporary Christians to ask, which is, King Agrippa looks at Paul and says, are you so quickly persuading me to become a Christian? He says, are you so quickly persuading me to become a Christian? I think that's a great question for all of us Christians, because for a majority of my life, I thought the Christian quote-unquote mission was simply to persuade people to become Christians. I literally had a colonization kind of viewpoint and tactic about what it means to be a Christian. And so I was a little shook, if I'm being honest. A little shook about what that means to be persuading people to be a Christian. Because, what's the value in that? Is that helping anybody? I don't think so. I don't think a goal of persuading anyone to become a Christian is a helpful goal. I don't think it meets lots of the qualifications that we're looking for as we think about furthering of mission and what it means to be a Christian. And so when King Agrippa asked this question, obviously I'm taken aback, right? What? Okay, this is a valuable question for us. How should we deal with this question? I think the way to deal with this question is the way that Paul deals with this question. Paul simply says, look, quickly or not so quickly, it is my hope, and I pray to God that all of you that can hear me today, including you, King Agrippa, it is my hope that all of you can become like me. And so what he means is that he wants everyone to come and experience what he has and will experience in this life, in the message of Jesus, in all of these things. And so he says, I want all of you to experience this, except, and this is a big except for these chains. Remember, Paul's in prison. Paul's in custody, in Roman custody, because of trumped up Jewish charges. And so he says, I hope all of you are just like me, except for these chains. You see, I think Paul had come to a place where he had realized that the fault of his Jewish faith, the one pre-Jesus, was that, unfortunately, right, wrong, or indifferent, it simply was a faith that kept people in chains, being beholden to the law, being deprived of justice, all of the things that you don't want to have present in this life. Paul says, I want all of you to be like me, except for these chains. Because what I think Paul has realized is that his Jewish faith was one of captivity. It was one where the Pharisees used laws and policy and regulation and all of these things for the sole purpose of bringing about experiences of captivity. And that's why Paul can look at these people and say, I want all of you to be exactly as I am, except for these chains. Except for these chains. Paul, at other times in his life and in his writings, will speak about the issue of chains and bondage and the way in which they hold us down and keep us captive. And he contrasts it with the message of Jesus, this faith of Jesus being one of life and liberation. And I think I'm at a place, as I have journeyed through this trial multiple times over, I think I'm at the place where I feel like Paul. I think the question that King Agrippa asked him, are you so quickly persuading me to become a Christian? I don't think that's our goal. I think it's the job of the Holy Spirit to do the quote-unquote persuading, if there is such a thing. And I think our heart should be that it's to God, that God is the agent in this, that it is not us, that we have a duty to be kind and to love and to be present and to pursue justice. But I think Paul's cry that I want all of you to be as I am, except for these chains. It's quite revealing because I think we all have chains. We all have things we're running from. We all have things that have harmed us and hurt us, and they hold us back. They keep us in bondage. And the message of Jesus is one of liberation. It is one where we are striving to heal from and let go of that captivity, that bondage. And so, WellHouse Church, my question to you today is, how can we be a community that heals from our chains together? That WellHouse Church is a place of breakthrough and promise, this one of liberation, and that ultimately it is one of healing.